Hello and welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie and I'd like to welcome you to episode number 37 of Doodle Gems. In this episode, we're going to be doing Star Rubies. And they're really pretty, they're really fun, they're very easy with just a couple colored pencils, a pen, and some paper. You're going to be able to make these really pretty gems in a useful item. Napkin rings. So come on with me and let's get started. All right, thank you for joining me. So we're going to be getting started doing these napkin rings. This is what it looks like when it's out flat. And this is how easy it is to slide them together and have it a napkin ring now. And it really works as a napkin ring. Got a napkin here, cloth napkin. You can use this with paper napkins or cloth napkins. And you just slide it on, just like normal. Nice thing about it, when you're done with dinner and these napkin rings are all sitting around, you don't have to throw away all your hard work. All you do is pop it apart, lay it out flat, and slip it inside of an envelope or a folder, and you'll have them for another time. I made a template with two different shaped frame areas. So today I'm going to be using this rounded one, and I'm just going to leave it attached up here. It's easier to hold on to when the pieces are all attached, and we'll talk about things more as we're going along. First off, I am going to get my Star Ruby put in. And I am using Tuscan Red to start off with. And I'm just going to put a cabochon shape in here. That sort of long oval shape. I've got roughly the same amount of distance above and below. It doesn't really matter. We're going to be able to adjust however we want. With the Tuscan Red, I'm going to be putting in my first layer around this outside edge. And I'm going to be working back and forth here and the reason why is because after I get a bit of this first layer of Tuscan Red in, I'm going to want to put that star just so it can be holding its place. So I'm going to grab this, and Star Rubies are a 6-pointed star, which makes it really easy because you can go a curved line up and down, then move over about 1/3 up, and you do a curved line across. The trickiest line is the third line because you want to make sure that you cross right on the center intersection. By having that red on there already, I pulled a little bit of that red up into my white lines so you can see them just a bit. Not a lot, but a bit. It's enough that I'll be able to see it when I'm putting in my colors. So now I'm going to come back in with that Tuscan Red, and I'm not pressing hard. I'm not going to scrub hard on this right now. What I'm doing is I'm just lightly laying in this color. This is my deepest shadows in this red ruby. And the Tuscan Red is a deep purpley red, so it works really well deep into that background. Now you see I'm sort of avoiding those stripes right now, those white parts that I put in. I'll be working up closer to them as we go along. But I'm working in between. I left a space right down here. This is going to be a bit of a glowy spot. And I'm going to be leaving an area off to the side here. And this is going to be another kind of glow area. And by lining it in that way right now, I know that I want to bring this dark area, this Tuscan red, on the inside toward the middle also. All right. Now I'm going to pick up the permanent red. And that permanent red, I am going to bring in a bit of it down here, that first glow. I'm still leaving a bit of a space right there. Right there, just a little space. And I'm going to come over here and that highlight-ish area over on the right-hand side, I'm going to color in with the permanent red, but I'm going to leave a little bit of a white space there also. And I'm going to start bringing some of that color around. This is a very warm red. Now, Star Rubies are, well, rubies in general, are a number 9 on the Mohs hardness scale. They are just one step down from diamonds for hardness. And they are a type of carborundum. So most rubies that get mined are not gem quality. They are industrial quality. And so they get used for being put onto big grinding type tools. Grinding and polishing is what most carborundum gets used for. Now you're starting to see that there's 6 points to this star. There we go. Then I'm going to take the Scarlet Lake. And the Scarlet Lake is actually more of a blue red. It's a little bit cooler than that permanent red. And I'm taking this pretty much over everything except for my spots that I've left white. And this color is being used to sort of unify everything. When it goes over that permanent red, it picks up more of an orangey tone to it. When it goes over the Tuscan red, it picks up more of the blue tone to it. It's pretty neat that way. I am going to use a white pencil and a colorless blender in just a moment. The neat thing about these star sapphires is that for the real ones, when you pick them up and you move them, the star sort of travels on the stone. And that's because of a fibrous stone that's called rutile. That's these long filaments. And when they line up just right, you get the asterism, which is to make a star. I think that's pretty neat stuff. It's neat that nature can do those things. All right, so we're almost done with that one. I'm going to grab the white pencil and plop some white down in that glow here, which is actually going to pull some of the red and red, because it's 3 kinds of red. Pull some of the red into that space. I'm going to do the same thing over here. It's going to be white with pulling a little bit of the red in. And then I want to sort of clean up a little bit of that star. I need to take a bit of that white off of there. Excuse me, take a bit of that red off of there. I don't want to contaminate that so much. All right. And then we're going to grab that colorless blender. Now I'm going to start up here at the center and work my way down to blend this out. There we go. As we're blending, we're trying to follow sort of the shape of the stone, and you have to use your imagination for that. I know that this stone is domed up like this, so I'm going in a rounded shape, starting at the center basically and working my way out to those bottom edges. And it's sort of a hook curve. The points on the star can be really wide or they can be really narrow. The more narrow you can make it at the tip, the more effective it is as a stone. I've got this really soft brush here. I'm just going to use that to brush away some of the pencil crumbs. There we go. This brush here is like so incredibly soft. It's a 3-inch large area Langnickel large area artist brush, and it's an L279. And I use it for brushing away crumbs. Some people would use this with watercolor as a wet wash brush for wetting down their big sheets of paper. I don't do big sheets of paper colored watercolor work, so at least not yet. But I actually got that as part of a drawing kit a couple of years ago. Okay, so get this worked in, narrow up some of those stripy legs. If you can leave a bit wider in the center, that's awesome. I'm going to see if I can lift out a tiny bit of this red in the middle because I had white underneath. Look at that. That's cool. Got that worked out. So now I can take a bit of my red right up to the edge here and put it back in without so much red in the center of my star. And then we are going to take the Tuscan Red again, darken up this bottom edge a bit, and pull a little bit more of the darkness back up in. I want to leave that very center section with that lighter color right in here next to the star, center. But I want to get a little bit more darkness down towards the bottom. And it will give me a little bit more color to work with. There we go. And this part is almost completely done, except for putting our Just need to make sure that I keep my pencil uncontaminated. I'm just taking the pencil and drawing it off on this piece of paper over to the side. Get that turned around. Look at that. Cool. Grab that colorless blender one more time. Smooth this out. There we go. We're going to get this nice white, the Signo, Uniball Signo White. Sorry, use the cap. There we go. The Signo Uniball White, UM153. So we're going to put some highlights on here. We're going to put highlight along this bottom edge, sort of a spot up here in the center, and then maybe one up over there, just above that puddly highlight down there. And now we are going to get this frame drawn in. So now look at that gem. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I get excited about these things. And this design is actually very fun, very easy. And I love when the setting goes in around the gem, because you end up with surprising little extra highlights showing up that you didn't plan for, but that just make it look more real. So now what I want to do, I'm going to put a line going across, and I'm going to use that arch. I'm going to do the same down here. I'm going to put a line going across. I'm going to use that arch as part of my design. You don't have to use the arch like that. You could actually cut out that edge. This is exactly that one. See? It fits inside the arch here. And I just cut it to fit the design. Now I'm going to put another little arch inside. And then I'm going to come along and make sort of a box. Give me some corners here. Just like that. Then I'm going to go ahead and draw an extra little line on the inside of that box. It's giving me a little margin space. And the same for this one down here. All right. And I think I'm going to go ahead and put my radiating rays that are starting from a center point that I just randomly chose, or ending at that center point, sort of. And it makes it look, we'll zoom in just a smidge. It makes it look almost like pleated fabric, like the old Victorian windows or things like that, where they would have the pleated fabric on their little sofas or chaise lounges or things like that. And I am going to go ahead and leave a little margin inside each of these triangles at the corners on the outside edge, and we'll put the pleated fabric in here too. And we're going to do that from the corners. It makes it look almost like a stained glass window with the filler glass that they would use. And then that ruby is in the center. And now, I can never do anything exactly the same from one design being transferred over. I think my little circles that I'm doing are going inside the arch this time. Just follow the line. Follow what you are interested in. Do a design that makes you happy. You don't have to do my design just because I'm doing it. Go ahead and zoom out here. Now, this line right here, this little line right there, and this little line right here, those are for the slits that are used to fit it together. So, see the slit lines? So your design, you don't want it to go beyond those little slits, because if you look here, it ends at the slit. The rest of it is all tucked inside, so you wouldn't see it anyway. You don't have to follow that. That's just a guideline. That's not a rule. There are no rules in this. These are Doodle gems. These are Doodle gem napkin rings. And I was thinking that another thing that you could do, if you didn't want to do the design work on it, if you've got some little kids around, what I would do, and I might try this with my grandson. He's only 2, so it might not work quite as well. But what I would like to try is printing out some of the sheets, the whole sheet. The whole sheet has 4 of these templates on it. I would print out the whole sheet, flip it over to the back, and let the kids have crayons or whatever, and let them just color all over it or draw whatever they want. Then you flip it over to this side, cut it out, cut the slits, and then flip them, and you'll have whatever the pattern is on the other side that the kids did. I think that you could end up with some really cool random designs. There's nothing like kid art for random. I'm doing some little diamonds here with the stems coming out of it, going up to these circles that are leading up to the ruby. It's not a real pattern. It's just something that I thought worked out really well. So that's what I did. And I think I am going to just do a little scallop around the outside of these diamonds this time. There we go. And I am going to put another diamond on the inside and another diamond on the inside. And maybe end with a circle. That easy. That easy. Although, I think I'm going to go ahead and put some detail in here. I think the very center where that little circle is going to get just sort of little textured lines. And then I did like a little picture frame here. could look like it's going downhill, could look like it's going up. All depends on how you shade it. If you shade it. I don't know that I'm going to. I think right now what I'm going to do is go ahead and get the other side of this drawn in. So I am going to do my center stem. This one's going to get a bit bigger diamond, it looks like. It doesn't matter if it's bigger or smaller. I'm going to keep my pattern similar. May not end up being exactly the same. It'll be similar. All right, so I did little lines inside, sort of coloring it in, a little bit textured. I didn't do it solid on the other one. And then there were the picture frame lines here. And there's the scallops that I put on the outside edge. It's a bigger diamond, so it may get a couple extra scallops. Look at that. All right, so really fast, I want to make those dots into gems also. So to do that, I am going to just take the white, because these are my speedy gems. I'm just going to take the white right on those, and I got a little bit too much on that. I can use a pen. There. That's how you fix it. When it's in a black space, use a black pen. And now I will take the Scarlet Lake, and it is going to go around and leave a bit of an open space. And I'm just sort of dusting that color in. It's going to go around and sort of leave a bit of an open space so it's still white. And then I'm just going to barely touch these tiny little dots. Just barely touch those. Take the Tuscan Red. Since these side dots are a little bit bigger, I can actually take that Tuscan Red to give me some shadows down inside. Those little ones, I'm not even going to worry about. A couple more little pen designs. I think I want a center line and some dots on these little leaves. Center line and some dots. And that design is all done. Now we're just going to cut it out. And it's actually a quick cut job. You can cut it so that the black is left, or the black is trimmed all the way away. I'm kind of leaving it, I think. Then it gives it a bit of a border. It's nice when you have a full run, like these ends, going snip to cut them off. But when you're working up to the center here, let me get back on screen. When you're working up to the center, it's a little bit trickier. You don't want to end right here by snipping, because you'll tear the paper. you want to be working from back inside the scissors. And then use that to follow the curve. You notice I'm not going snip, snip, snip. I started back on the inside of these scissors, and I'm letting the scissors do the work. Let's see, will I end up going all the way off? I will. So now I can just do my snip. Let your scissors do the work. You don't have to fuss so much. And on these slits, again, you don't want to take your scissors and go snip like this, because you'll end up tearing that end. You want to put the scissors inside, and you're going to have to just be careful and stop at the end of the line. And I'm going to turn it around and do the other side. Doing the same thing, snipping up and stopping at the end of the line. So now what I'm doing is I'm putting my thumb and fingers on either side. I'm pinching it, and I'm kind of curving it with my fingers just a little bit. I don't want to go too far or too fast because I don't want to end up catching the end and tearing it off. We don't want that to happen. So I'm sort of working up to the slit, but I'm not going past it. Now, you fit this, you roll one side in all the way. The other side, so I'm rolling my left hand in, and the right hand I'm going to pull over and come back away just a little bit so I can get those slots to line up. And there we have it. There's a lovely doodle gem on a napkin ring that can be used and reused. And saved for another time. All right, guys. So if you like this video, please click that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you aren't already, so that you'll be notified when new videos come up. Share with your friends that might be interested in what I'm doing. Remember to leave me a comment and let me know what you're thinking about these projects and if you want to see more. I'd really appreciate it if you would take time to take care of yourself so you'll be able to take care of others around you. Do that by going out and doing something creative. Take care. Bye-bye.